Hbar has officially made history, becoming one of the first altcoins ever to attain its own ETF. This is a huge milestone not only just for Hedera, but for the broader altcoin market, as it signals growing institutional interest beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum. And in today's video, we're going to break down what this ETF launch actually means for Hbar, how it could impact the price in the near term and the future, and what it tells us about the next phase of crypto adoption. My name is Paul Sampson. Welcome back to DataDash. All right, folks, Hbar just received an ETF that launched just yesterday. And honestly, this is something that is interesting to me because of all the altcoins out there. Hbar was one of the first to receive this alongside Ethereum, Solana, Litecoin as well. We're going to be covering those also. So yeah, yesterday Hedera had posted that they made history today as Hbar becomes the third ever crypto ETF to launch after Bitcoin and Ethereum. And to make it clear, out of the 19 million cryptocurrencies that CoinMarketCap tracks, it was the Hbar ETF that passed. So last year we saw a really big push on the Hbar price as we finished the year in 2024. And essentially what this was is this, looking back on it, right? And realistically, if we're thinking about the timing and everything, I think that many would look at this and say that, oh, some insiders were aware of this or anything like that. Again, realistically, all we saw right here was a gold pocket retracement, all right, from the overall high back in 2021, came down and we consolidated for quite some time. This was a really large move that occurred alongside XRP as well at the same time frame. But you can see here how we just ran right up to that gold pocket, which is again the 61.8 to 65% retrace of this overall down move here. Very big area to come up and retest. From there, we got a huge drop off, which is likely that we see all time and time again, especially with the altcoins. And the interesting part to me here is actually this recent move where we had that liquidation event on the 10th of October, and then now we have the news of the ETF going live. And the only reason I point that out, folks, is because when Ethereum first received its ETF as well back around May last year of 2024, the hype was really intense around Ethereum's ETF getting listed. ETH was trading at the time at $4,000, which was the first time it returned to $4,000 since the overall lows from 2022. And Bitcoin had just obviously broken all-time highs. Again, this is last year in 2024, around March to May, the summer of last year. Alongside all that great news and everything along that, we still saw a 50% decline in Ethereum from that point, from 4,000 down to 2,000, while we had the carry trade and everything that unfolded last summer. I only point that out because in the very near term, when price action reacts like that, even though you have such great catalysts, it's not always an immediate reaction as far as price would go that would always carry on from there, right? So we may see that initial push or pop or drop around some of these really big news catalysts. And in the long term, they will have bigger effects that will carry on for a longer time frame. But to see these shorter time frame moves around it and where they can have some sizable pullbacks along the way, it's not uncommon. And again, it's very much just a very short term outlook when the bigger picture here is still relatively bullish and looks relatively promising for things. To me, any of the altcoins that receive an ETF are the very few that I will actually consider putting any kind of investment into these days that are not just straight speculation, right? My theory and my thought process is that most altcoins are going to go to zero in the coming years, and the only ones that are going to be remotely safe in that sense, and that's not even a guarantee, is the only things I would say that may stick around and may make it are going to be the ones that have the ETF stamped behind it, essentially. So Hbar, again, Litecoin and Solana are also in that run now too. But let's take a look at Hbar and see where the price could go here short term, what that last drop actually took us down to, and what I could see here in the mid to long term here. And again, for me, mid to long term in crypto is months to a couple of years, not like 10 years down the road from now. So Hbar, again, like I noted before, we basically had this huge drop. We rallied up to our gold pocket up here and then essentially gave it all right back up. Classic altcoin activity, essentially. And where we came down to on this last wick down, now we front ran it by pennies here on at least on Binance, but I'm sure it hit overall. But there was two areas or two levels that we left here back when we had that huge move up. A major volume target and then a high time frame horizontal level of support, basically, so that hadn't been retested, right around 8 cents. All right, let's just call it 5 to 8 cents, and we wicked down essentially right into that region and got the bounce back up. So from here, you've now seen over a 130% push back up. This is still something that's trading over 400% from where it was last November. So at the time of recording, that's just about a year ago now. So in the grand scheme of things, at least personally, I always think of things like that. If I'm looking to get into something brand new, I always call it the fresh entries. If I'm considering anything like that on HBAR right now, while yes, there's high potential to go higher over the coming years, you just have to be aware of where you are right now, because it could very easily still pull back a little bit more locally, 20-30% like nothing. Okay, so you always want to be aware of that. We just had that great news launch, come out yesterday. And for me, I would be interested in having HBAR on my radar at this point if I wasn't before. And what I'd look for here is the big red days. So I'd allocate certain position size that I'd like to be willing to risk an investment on this. And then I always look for a big red day. And to me, that's a 20-30% at least pullbacks, especially in crypto. Okay, so does that mean that this can't just rally on from here and I'd miss it at this exact moment? That's just the risk I take personally. So that's just what I like to point out. Again, this is something that's up 388% in the last year. It's up 130% from that recent drop down just 2 weeks ago. To float around here 30% waves is nothing. But with that being said, just to have that risk management on your radar, the overall idea here, even if we were to kind of maneuver around in this region, is that we would see a move higher here. Okay, so let's just take a look at a couple things. You'll note I have three major levels above us. And the biggest one, the biggest hurdle, I think, is going to be this 30 cents. All right, you can see how it's reacted already as some resistance. We have an untapped monthly level here. So very much similar to this 6-month version down here. We have a 1-month area up here. This is a trend-based gold pocket as well. So that's just going to give us a little bit of added confluence here. And if we look at our overall range that we're in currently, we can see here that that 30% area is coming in where the most volume took place. So that's our point of control as well, right? So we're still trading well within the range again. So we've dropped out of it. We've gotten back into it now, back testing the low. The idea here would be that we would seek out that higher area. Okay. Now, again, altcoins are very, very wonky. So just to flirt down around these lower areas is nothing to, shake your head at. It's very common in most cases, more than not. So just because we're back inside this region right now doesn't mean we can't dip again down below it. So, but in the bigger picture here, I would imagine that we actually run it back up, revisit those areas. This is the biggest area of resistance in my opinion. If we flip this 30-cent area again, and we look for this on a daily time frame, I think that we could see that next really big jaunt up. All right, and the next major areas that would cause us some resistance would be up here at 43 cents and then 66 cents. From there, we could, of course, reevaluate, see where things kind of cool off. We can get new projections from there, obviously get a gauge on the rest of the market. But this would be overall what I'd be anticipating out of HBAR in potentially coming months here. Now we've got a 100 to 250% move that could unfold, especially coming off the back of this liquidation event. Pretty much took everybody out for the whole year of 2025. We almost back tested some of these key levels down here. So the setup is definitely there, just nothing really materializes until we get above 30 cents. So in my eyes, I'd be looking to accumulate and acquire below 30 cents specifically. Definitely if we get a 30% pullback or any kind of pullback, it doesn't have to be exactly 30% necessarily on the nose, but that's what I'd be looking for. And in anticipation of running it up to 30 cents, where I have to be aware that is going to be a major resistance area. And if we start to flip that region, then we can target higher up towards 44 cents respectively, and then 66 cents from there. Moments like this remind us just how far the space has truly come. Seeing a project like HBAR reach the ETF stage is a massive step forward, broader recognition and legitimacy for some altcoins in the space. And whether price moves immediately or not, these milestones often mark the early signs of what's next for adoption and market maturity. Thank you all so much as always for tuning in today. I'll see you all in the next video, and until then, everybody, cheers.